The first question for our finance officer candidates is nice and simple, like we said. The question is, should the union provide commercial services? And we're going to start with Josh Hardy.
Commercial services are a huge part of our university. Without them, it makes us what we are at the end of the day. We need to function as a university, and simply enough, they're an important part of it. I think that's about it, really.
Harry Horton.
I think commercial services are a huge part of the union. They bring in millions and millions of pounds of money to the union, which then the union can spend on all the services like the advice centre and all the other great services that it offers. And I think it's great that we can provide a place like this where students can spend their money and spend their time with like-minded people. So I think it's vital that we have commercial services in our union, yeah.
Gary McGuinness.
Thank you. I think that was a very good question. I think the union providing commercial services is probably one of the most important things that they do, to be honest. But obviously, of the many things that we do, they not only provide lots and lots of money coming into the union, but because they're run by students and for students, they're more commercially relevant and responsive to your needs, to be honest. So not only are we getting this income stream coming in, they are, to be honest, they should be exactly what you want. And if you vote for me, things like cheaper sandwiches for the days you don't fancy a John's van, I think that's something that students want.
Last time. Johnny Keyworth.
I think obviously everything that's been said before is very true, but I think what also needs to be said is that we open and have a dialogue with students, more so than that happens at the moment, about where the money is being spent and how much students want spent on certain things. And I think having some sort of committee of students that comes together and discusses this further, rather than it being a closed door policy, I think would be a really good thing. And also making sure that all workers within the union are protected and all do receive a living wage.
Rossa Keating.
I'm going to look at this from a different perspective, a business perspective. At the moment we do have a deficit, so to have commercial unions is the obvious way to get out of this deficit. Looking forward to 2012 as well, to reduce this deficit we have to have commercial units to turn over a profit. If you can think of any other way that's not a commercial unit to make money, to make turnover, I'd love to hear it, but I don't know of one.
I'm just going to give the candidates a chance to follow up if any of them wish to. Okay, in which case I'm going to ask if there are any questions from the floor. No questions from the floor, so we'll again move on to one of the questions that we already have. So the next question we have is, what should be the balance between the union being values-led and profit-led? Has everyone got the question? Okay, we're going to start at the other end this time, so this goes to Rossa first.
Well, I think the key to this is actually a simple economics question. Value leads to profit. So if you have a value good, people will buy it and they'll buy it in bulk. But if you have a good that's not valued, people won't buy it, so you won't lead to profit. So you just have to make a decent price strategy, do a good cost-benefit analysis, and you'll turn over a good profit. Value does lead to profit at the end of the day.
Okay, Johnny?
I think the kind of heady desire for profit is a little bit kind of misconceived, really. I think that values, and I think the union should be built on values, and I think the bottled water campaign is very important, and also the Palestinian Solidarity campaign. I think that's also a part of the union. I don't think that that we should be just kind of driving towards profit with anything else kind of not being important. Values are very important. The Students' Union is based on values of equality, and I think that's something that we should strive for. Thank you.
Yeah, I think two very valid points have been made so far. It is all about trying to find a balance, is what I would say. We can't just be running our students' union with a massive deficit and carrying on, but then we need to be responsible about it. I think we've done a lot of good things so far. We decide this properly with council. We've got some good things like, say, boycott of certain projects which are unethical. I would say students really, really care about issues, and we want our union to represent those issues, but sensibly, not by spending loads and loads of debt, but...
Aaron?
I think that there should be a good balance between values and profit. And I like the referendum that's going on at the moment with the bottled water, and I think students should have more of a say in what sort of values they think their students' union should hold. I'm not really sure what more I can add to what the three people have said, but I think there should be a nice balance between values and profit.
Coming fifth now is a problem. I agree with what everyone else has said, to be honest, but one thing I will say is, as a union, we're not a money-making organisation. We're providing the students with what they want. So if the students want cheaper prices for certain things, then they should have the opportunity to ask for those prices to be cheaper. And yeah, so obviously the value is important, but it's a balance between the two, but at the end of the day, we're not a money-making scheme.
And again, I'm just going to ask if any candidates wish to develop on anything they've said or follow up at all. Are we okay to take another round? Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to... Yeah. John, just...
Hi, sorry, just to know what you heard. I was just wondering what Harry thought, in which ways the bottle policy is good, because if we're not going to offer bottled water, we're still offering bottled Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, other things, bottled anything. So why, in this case, just water?
What I said was I think it's good we're having a referendum on bottled water. I didn't mention specifically my view on the policy. So I said that I think we need to be a values-led organisation. I think it's important that students should have more of a say in what those values are. So I think that we should have more referendums like this one, where students will have a clear view one way or another. That was what I was saying.
Okay, we're going to move on to another question in that case. Again, I'm going to ask if there are any questions at all from the floor, and we do have one. So.
The union, the way society's finances work with the union is quite a complex system, and looking at your manifestos in here, only one of you has been a treasurer for a society. So how do the rest of you plan to bring in reforms to make it easier for societies to manage their finances?
Okay, are you all okay with the question?
What was the final part of the question,
Sorry. How do you plan to what reforms to make it easier for societies to manage their finances?
Okay, and we're going to go to Josh first.
I may not have the experience of being a treasurer on the committee, but I have been involved this year in the Politics Society and organising the event. So we've been to Paris. I had to organise the money for that, the costing for that, etc. When we were out there, I had to organise sorting everyone out and getting their tickets and trying to find cheap deals, and so I've got experience with money in that sense. I've also been involved in the exchange last year. I was part of a 4-person committee for a committee that next year will be a working committee.
I'm going to go to Gary.
Thank you very much. Well, you say only one of us has been a treasurer. You neglect the fact that one of us is also on the presidential team of the society, because my leadership skills oversee this treasurer. I know exactly what he does. He comes to see me to check the things he does. And also with things like Geek Chic, I single-handedly practically organised Geek Chic 2 years ago in taking £3,000 for comic relief. Children need a comic relief, I can't remember which one. This year we did exactly the same, getting £4,000. Also, we've been on 2 FISOC trips to CERN, we're going to Budapest, we've been to Austria. That's a hell of a lot of money. FISOC gets about 10 grand a year, which I personally oversee. And basically, societies need to know how to get sponsorship.
Okay, we're going to go to Harry.
Well, I think the union finance system can be quite confusing and quite complex for societies, and as a result, a lot of societies choose not to bank their money with the union. So the union finance system needs to be made more simple and easier to understand for societies. One of the policies I've got is about an online payment system. It can take weeks and weeks sometimes to get these payments for societies through. So if we get an online payment system, that would speed things up a lot quicker, and more societies would choose to bank their money with the union.
Okay, and to Johnny.
I was actually a president of a society, and we chose not to bank with the union because we just found it too hard and took too much time, and it required just endless kind of emails and exchanges, which for a society, when you need funds to be available quickly and you need to move them about quickly, it's not ideal. So as Harry said, I think an online system would be something that's really good because it's quick, it's easy, and it doesn't require kind of like a process of speaking to various people. And I think kind of just simplifying it is a really, really important thing to do.
Okay, and to Rossa.
Harry and Johnny do bring up good points about the online system. But talking to Martin and Tom over historically, is they've had many links with our accountants in the union, the managers' accountants, the auditors. So I think there should be drop-in sessions to help the societies like Tom, Martin and finance officers of the past. Because when you go into a role, you're obviously not going to know the implications of the whole financial system. So you need someone who does know to help you out with them. So if a society chair or finance chair could talk to our auditors and our accountants, that would be better for everyone.